Alright, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Flight of the Lost Balloon, 1961. This one was distributed by AIP, who was shot in Puerto Rico for 10 days. It was inspired by Jules Verne's 1863 novel 5 Weeks in a Balloon, very loosely based on the book, and beat the major film release of the book to the cinemas. And there was a promotional gimmick. The people who bought the tickets for Flight of the Lost Balloon were given a motion sickness pill, which just gave the critics all kind of setup for jokes. It was a setup for critic jokes, really. So I'm giving this one 3 out of 5 stars. I thought it was alright. It's got the guy in the monkey suit kind of thing. It's about this guy who's being tortured by Hindu, and the guy knows where the Cleopatra's treasure is buried, but he won't tell the Hindu. So he continues to be tortured. He's put on the rack, and he has his fingernails removed and things like that. He's all chained up. And so the Hindu guy tricks the Geological Society in Great Britain to do another expedition to rescue Sir Herbert. His fiancée is part of the groundbreaking ceremony. She ends up going in the balloon along with the Hindu and some other explorer guy. And then the Hindu guy releases the balloon. So he's essentially kidnapping the Sir Herbert's fiancée. Sir Herbert doesn't have any interest in her, by the way, but Hindu thinks he can torture her to get him to talk, which doesn't happen. So they meet some cannibals along the way. The queen of the tribe, she's drunk, so they revive her with smelly salts, something that's the equivalent of coffee. And she starts drinking more. She passes out. And then the cannibals realize that they're frauds, and they start chasing them. But they manage to escape, and they land on the island where Sir Herbert is. But the guy has to jump out of the balloon to alleviate the weight problem. And then Hindu, along with his giant companion, try to torture her, but he still doesn't do anything. Then the other guy rescues her, and they manage to escape somehow. And that's pretty much the movie right there. Pretty decent ending. The guys in the monkey suits are ridiculous. It's got some camp value there. And of course it was shot in 10 days. Some interesting Cleopatra backstory going on. So it wasn't too bad. It was kind of boring. It was like a Disney movie from this time period. Not very interesting. But on a low budget, this one. So, yeah. I wasn't too crazy about this film, but it wasn't as bad as Master of the World, in my opinion. the other movie that was based on a couple of Jules Verne books. So kind of exceeded my expectations, I guess you could say, even though it wasn't that great. So that's the end of my review. I'm going to cook some hamburgers now, then I got to drive him back to his dungeon number 1 in 6 hours. I better pack the trunk. We went to Jiffy Lube this morning, and they charged me like $200 for oil change, tire rotation, new blades, and new air cabin filter. So I spent about $200, even though I had coupons. I only bring one of them. I wasn't expecting them to do all that. But anyways, hopefully tomorrow when I get my 2 paychecks, I can pay some bills and invest some more in stocks. Of course, the U.S. economy tanked. The GDP, which isn't even an accurate gauge of that output, but nevertheless it was down 32%, which is the worst ever. You got 32 million people, or somewhere around there, maybe 30 to 32 million people collecting unemployment benefits. That's even worse than the dark days of the Great Depression, 1930s. So things are pretty grim here in the United States. It's a terrible situation for my son to grow up in. But what can you do? All you can do is pray and go to church and stock up on free food and invest in stocks. My Robinhood is doing pretty good today, notwithstanding the bad economic news. I got an hour of stock left. My Twilio keeps going up, but the Nikola stock keeps going down. Fortunately, I have a lot more Twilio than I do Nikola. So it doesn't have the Nikola price decrease below 30, which is what I bought it at. It doesn't really have a much effect on my account after all. But I'm up about $5 or 0.32% today, which is not great. At one point I was up $14. But looks like the market's doing really bad right now. Looking at the stock market overall is the Dow is down about 1%. U.S. economy contracted by worst ever, 32.9% in second quarter. That's pretty bad. Though it's not even accurate, but nonetheless. It's bad news, nonetheless. And that's about it. What else do I got coming down the pike? I think I can squeeze in one more movie today. It's Battle Beyond the Sun, some Soviet movie from 1959 that was butchered by Roger Corman, apparently. So I'm going to watch the butchered version of Battle Beyond the Sun. That should be, we'll see how that goes. But anyway, I thought I'd get Flight of the Lost Balloon, which is kind of an obscure movie. Try to get the trivia about the motion sickness thing. But what was I going to say about Flight of the? Oh, it gets a 4.7 out of 10. Not a good rating. I think I rated it a little bit higher, but it's an adventure film. It's a lot like Master of the World. Um, but it only gets 141 ratings, so it is quite obscure. Not that many people have seen it, unless they saw it on television during the 70s or something. But anyways, that's the end of my review. Laters.